is invading your airwaves. Be on the lookout.
Geeks and gamers.
Hello, Sports Wars. I am not Bryson. I am much more handsome and a lot more knowledgeable about sports. My name is Jeremy, and this is the Sports Wars podcast. I am joined tonight by our lovely panel, starting with the wonderful David LaRock. David, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you? New year. New year, new me.
And we also have our Sports Wars admin, Mr. John Morgan. What's up, John?
No year, same pain, man.
And we drug him from somewhere under a train in Chicago. We pulled him out, and the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Morris is here. Aaron, what's up?
So since you said that you were much more knowledgeable and everything than Bryson, how did he get the job in the first place?
He paid
like
me
all he knows about is soccer.
He paid me a lot of money.
Okay.
So,
Nobody else wanted it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he paid me a lot of money, and you know, he basically does anything I ask, and that's a good combination. So it was really an easy gig for him to pull off. But anyway, we had a huge weekend in sports. The college football playoffs happened. It was amazing. The national championship game between the down SEC conference that we keep hearing about, the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. The game lived up to all the hype. We have a panel here that is mostly college football and knowledgeable, and then we have LaRock. But we're gonna get into this right now. The game was amazing. I think even if you are a Georgia fan, even if we lost as Alabama as an Alabama fan, if we lost, I could have still really appreciated that game for what it was. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our feelings. We're definitely going to talk to John about the pain of being a Falcons fan and a Bulldog fan. We want to really get into the psychology of that. We really want to know what it feels like. And we're not going to be doing it to take shots, but it is a genuine question that I think a lot of people want to have some answers to. So let's start it off with Aaron Morris, an Alabama fan. Aaron, what were your thoughts on that epic national championship game?
First of all, great game for both teams. Hats off to you, John, and your brother and all the Bulldogs fans. But I'm sure on both sides, Alabama and Georgia, during the game, I felt like I might have had a really close call and like calling an ambulance to pick me up. My old lady, too, was like, what is wrong with you? She's like, why are you freaking out right now? I'm just like, I just couldn't handle it, man, towards the end of the game. And I'm never going to understand or wrap my head around Nick Saban coach team that can't get a field goal kicker. That problem has bugged that team for quite a few years now. And it's just like that heartbreak feeling that I know Jeremy knows when we've been in a big game and just continue to miss field goals that could put us over the edge. But
yeah, kick six, anybody? Ugh.
Yeah, it was all worth it in the end, man.
That was a long fucking field goal, though.
But yeah, but the first one he missed wasn't that far, though. I think it was like, what, 40, maybe 38 to 40 yards?
We're referring to the kick six, right?
Talking about the kick six. He was
the kick six.
Was a long field goal.
It doesn't matter how long it was. It fucking hurt, okay? You know pain. You should feel our pain and understand, okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. But go ahead, Aaron.
No, it's anytime you get a game that is a team that you care about and it goes to overtime and it's the big game. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. The excitement level, the nerves, all those emotions in one. And then to get that final touchdown and win the game, man, I mean, I don't know. It was a great feeling. It's one of the best. I would say out of all the national championship games that I've been able to watch from Alabama, this was my favorite one. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. And John, as the Georgia Bulldog fan on the panel here, and as someone who is obviously a close friend in real life, I wish you Morgan brothers were dickheads, so I could really kind of. I wish you were more like LaRock and you were just always petty, so I could really kind of just really enjoy this. But I felt really bad for you. As much as I was happy that Alabama won, I was just like, man, I feel for these guys. And I mean, as a Patriots fan, watching you, you probably hate me, but as a Patriots fan last year and watching your Georgia team have the epic collapse and then this, but as a Georgia fan, what are your emotions? What were your emotions during the game? What are your emotions here a few days past? How is it settling with you?
Well, first of all, shout out to the 48-hour new Bama fans that we have. I think inside
Plenty
the
of
group, yeah, inside the group, man, the core Alabama fans aren't the ones poking the bear. It's the outsiders that just want to take shots, and that doesn't bother me. Of course, the emotions were real. Watching Alabama's last drive in the fourth quarter, I was like, man, this is over. And then that field goal went up, and he hooked it.
And
My eyes watered up.
Yeah, then you
My
got
eyes
to tease.
watered
You're
up.
like, hey, we're gonna
Yeah,
win it.
I was like, this is going to overtime, man, and we're gonna win this fucking game. And then of course, also, I don't know if y'all know this or not. I had to watch that entire game on my iPad.
I saw you updating us on that.
Yeah, my cable provider literally ESPN and ESPN2 shit it out. And I couldn't watch it. I had to watch it on my iPad. And going back to the game, obviously, man, Georgia got the first drive and they kicked the field goal, and then they sacked I can't even say the fucker's name, so we're just gonna say
Tua Tagovailoa.
TT. We sacked TT for that 16-yard loss, and I was like, this is going to be great. And then he threw that fucking bomb up, and I immediately turned the iPad off and went outside and went on to Facebook Live. And I had a few drinks at that point. That video is still available. You're welcome to go back and watch it. But
I made an appearance.
Oh yeah, you made an appearance. Brandon Hicks, Aaron made an appearance. The emotions were real on that video, man, and it was. The question was brought up before we started this. Did this hurt worse than the Super Bowl? And I would say it was equal. I'm a diehard Georgia guy, diehard Falcons guy, and both losses hurt. I wasn't the guy celebrating the Falcons because I knew Tom Brady and what he was capable of, and I just watched it all unfold slowly. So I guess
let me say this now, as a person who's obviously I was emotionally invested in both games too, the national championship and the Super Bowl. For me, it felt like there were, like in the Super Bowl, once Brady got going, it kind of felt like this is a train that's not stopping. Whereas the Alabama game, it felt like there were like the missed field goal. It's like, holy shit, we're going to win this game. Or when Tua got sacked for that 2nd and 26, it was almost like, holy shit, we're going to win this game. Like, I feel like that put you on a more of an emotional roller coaster than the Super Bowl. But again, that's just me being on the opposite side of things.
Yeah. I mean, that's an accurate statement.
Because like in overtime when Tom Brady got the ball, I think everybody on the planet knew the game was over.
When the Pats
I knew as soon as it went to overtime and they got the ball first that it was over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess ultimately the Georgia game was more of a shocker than the Falcons because of course everybody knows what Tom Brady can do, and Georgia, it was, hey, this dude's a freshman, he's bound to fuck up. And he only started the second half.
Right. And he made some mistakes during that game. He made some freshman mistakes. As phenomenal as he was, he did make some mistakes. So
Yeah. And honestly, I cried on both, man. I mean, that wasn't a fucking ugly cry like, it was teared up, man. It was true emotions, and why can't it be us? Why can't we get over that hump? I'm tired of saying maybe next year for both sides of it.
I hear you, man. So David, as the non-college football aficionado on the panel and as the NFL expert, I would love to get your take on this. I'm sure you watched the entire game, correct?
For sure. It was very entertaining. I'm glad they put in Tua. I do have a couple of questions on both sides. One, why did Saban ride Hurts the entire year?
Because Saban is not
one pick.
Well, yeah. Well, Saban is not a risk taker, and Saban's a meat and potatoes kind of guy, which you know this. And Tua is still raw, and he's going to be like a wave of emotions. Like he's going to have his ups and his downs. And as long as Hurts is winning football games and he's letting you continue to be what you are, then there was no reason to pull him from the equation. So, I mean, the dude was 25-2.
And if I could step in there really quick, I think that's why it was such a shocker that
Yes,
he
it
brought
was.
him in the second half, is because of how Nick Saban is.
The other answer to that, David, real quick, is since Nick Saban has been the coach at Alabama, I don't think anybody on this panel could name one starting quarterback that's more than a game manager.
Maybe AJ, but
Maybe.
there's still a
AJ,
debate.
right?
Maybe. I mean, AJ's the only one that wouldn't be considered maybe a game manager, but we still don't even know because, I mean, clearly nobody in the NFL is willing to give him a shot. So, I mean, I'm just saying, even me, I coming out of college, even I was not convinced AJ McCarron could be a legitimate NFL quarterback. And so, yeah, I mean, kind of to Aaron's point, that's kind of what Nick Saban's always had as game managers. And Tua is a whole different animal.
I mean, I loved watching. Obviously, I don't care about either side, but the fact that you have Brian Dabble, the New England background, as soon as Alabama started going vertical, you saw the playbook open up, and it was like, oh my God, this is like Josh McDaniels 2.0, like the running back screens, the quick outs, the slants, the hooks. I'm like, oh, this is like watching the Pats all over again. The question I have for Georgia is, I want to say it was maybe 3 minutes to go. It was 3rd and 2, maybe on the 30. If you get a first down, you're probably going to bleed the clock. Why the fuck do you not run it? You run the wild dog. Like, you know what play I'm talking about? As soon as Fromm went outside, as soon as he flanked left, the entire box got like 7, 8, 9 deep. Like, Alabama knew what you're doing. Like, why, if you're going to run it, why not run it from behind center? Why do the wild dog? Like, it was third, and not to mention you're running it straight into the teeth of the defense.
I honestly think it was a bad read. I think that was an option play to either hand it off or dude take it, and I just think it was a bad read.
Like, he didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think it was a poor read. Honestly, you know, Michelle, I don't think Michelle did a lot better than Chubb did that game.
But Michelle didn't even – I don't even think Michelle had over, 12 carries?
Yeah.
Just shocking. Because every time he had to average around 7 or 8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He was beasting.
And then going back to the final play, what Tua did, granted he made some mistakes. Obviously you can't take the sack. Obviously you can't throw that pick, down the sideline. But that look off, when he looked off that safety,
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't think Tebow has looked off anything in his entire life.
You know what? You're gonna bring Tebow into
God!
You're gonna bring
He's looked off a couple of home runs.
That feel, but again, it goes back to doing your job. And if you're playing too high safety, you have to trust that your safety is going to be there also. You cannot look at the quarterback side. If he doesn't move, the throw's never made. But yeah. I digress. It was a great play. It was a great throw. It sucked for Georgia, but
TT is going to be nasty. Let's just agree to that.
He's going to be something.
I mean, he's going to be nice.
Now, my question to you, David, that game, did it make you appreciate college football even a little bit more?
So it had the first half was god awful. Like, the first half, I wanted to vomit on myself.
Again, was it god awful or was it great defense?
Your quarterback can't throw a 10-yard out. I mean, you have the best wide receiver in the country.
I mean, he does have 17 touchdowns and 1 interception all year. So I mean, he just, when you go against a really athletic, smart defense, that changes things. Yeah. So don't fault him. Don't fault him because he didn't throw interceptions.
Can I ask David a question? Like, if real quick, and you don't have to make it long and big explanation, but what is the exact reason that you don't like college football? Because you love football, and college football is the same exact sport of football.
But it's not. It's apples and oranges. Like, I'm not saying college is bad, NFL's better.
You have said that 100 times.
I just, me personally, I don't like Brussels sprouts. You might like Brussels sprouts. Yeah, I mean, it's personal preference.
This is more or less like Papa John's pizza versus Domino's. It's both pizza.
It's still pizza, but it's still it's
they prefer one to the other.
I don't like the fact that your quarterback, whoever it may be, I watched the Baker Mayfield game, whatever. The quarterback gets under the best quarterback in the country, right? Goes under center, claps, and looks to the sideline to tell him what play to run because he doesn't know what coverage is there. They're amateurs. They're kids. I like to watch, now granted I'm blessed, being from up north, to watch Tom Brady operate. Tom Brady knows what the fuck the defense is doing before the defense even knows what they're doing.
Right, but it's Tom Brady. You're comparing the greatest of all time to a kid that still has to test in college.
Not even Brady. You can even go back to Mariota. The stuff he did during the hurry-up 2-minute against Kansas City. It's different when they're the best at what they do at the best optimal level. I'm not saying college isn't great. They're not talented. They're not, athletic, and they try hard. But the fact that Nick Saban won the national title on his bench, like the amount of depth and talent.
Because that's never happened in the NFL. That's never happened in the NFL. Because Tom Brady didn't come from the bench, did he?
No, but I'm saying in the championship game, if fucking Matt Ryan goes out, I don't know who Atlanta's backup is.
Hostetler?
I mean, sure. Okay, you're talking a very, very small sample size there. Okay, Frank Wright too, right?
Right. I mean, but I'm saying the fact is I mean, you're talking about the best team in the country with the best coach in the country. So to think that he could bring somebody off his bench that's obviously more talented is not.
But the talented is the amount of 5-star recruits is just, it's dripping on both sides of the ball. Like Georgia has probably 2 of the best 5 running backs in the fucking country.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like an arms race. It feels like it's so talent concentrated. And it's just, I mean, to me, I don't want to say it's not good football. It's different football.
My deal with college football
I understand why. I just don't agree. Go ahead.
My deal with college football, man, is you have obviously the pros. You're getting paid to do that. That is your job. My thing with college is you have guys trying to get there, and they're doing everything they can to get to that level.
And only 1% do.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why it makes you try harder.
Right. And I'm also a fan of, seeing a kid learn the process and then, kind of following their career and seeing where they go and stuff like that. That's just more interesting to me. And then the other question I had was for John. I just want to know real quick, do you think that Riley Ridley has the chance and the talent to be better than Calvin?
Oh, my God. I fucking hope so.
Because he looked great out there. He looked great out there.
Yeah, he had a good game, man. And shout out to I didn't watch it live because, of course, I told you I turned my fucking iPad off as soon as that play happened. But I watched it afterwards, that moment them two had on the field afterwards, man. That's amazing.
They actually swapped jerseys?
That's what I thought. I'll try to follow up on that. It looked like they had jersey swapped.
I really wanted to see if, like, their mom or their family was there because that's, I mean.
I'm sure they were.
I mean, that's,
well, before we move on, I do want to give my quick thoughts on the game. And obviously, it was an emotional roller coaster. I've been calling for Tua to be put in front of Jalen Hurts all year long, even though Aaron Morris tried to put me on blast many times.
That's a flat-out lie. But go ahead and push any agenda you want. You're running the ship right now.
but I did face some backlash for those comments, and clearly I was right, and I'll take full ownership of that. But ultimately, and you can go back into the thread for the national championship game when we were down 13-0. As soon as Tua came in, even after the interception, I said we're going to win this football game because he's in. And the insane difference in Alabama's entire offensive structure was night and day, and that dude's going to be phenomenal. I love Jalen Hurts. I think he's a great guy. He's an amazing leader. He's a great athlete, and I hope he stays at Alabama. I don't know if he will, but yeah, the game was unbelievable. It's probably the greatest single moment I've ever witnessed as a sports fan because of how it all played out and how there was still never really, even though I claimed I knew what was happening, I truly didn't know. I just had confidence, but there was so many ups and downs. And Tua is for as phenomenal as he is. He did make some really bad freshman mistakes, and man, it was something else. So congratulations to Georgia, their fans. Congratulations to Alabama, Nick Saban proving he is the man. And what a game! What a way to end the college football season. So, other than that, we are going to move on to some interesting fake news that was released this past week from the very, really reliable ESPN.com and the writer that I've never heard of, Seth Wickersham. Is it Sham?
Sham.
Okay. And apparently he's done more than a few hit pieces on the New England Patriots, according to you, David.
Yeah, he did the Deflategate piece.
Okay. So David, do you want to give us a quick recap of this real quick before we destroy it?
So that's why y'all so salty about this motherfucker. Then.
I'd never heard of him. But so when I started destroying this fake news, I didn't even know who he was. David's the one who had to tell me that the guy had multiple hit pieces on New England. I'd never heard of the guy.
Yeah, I want to say in 2015, before the playoff run, he actually rehashed all the alleged cheating scandals, Spygate, etc.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's no, the ratings are down. It was a clickbait piece. I mean, to put it in a nutshell, there's tension. Trading Jimmy, Tom was, sad. Kraft said, you have to trade Jimmy. Bill said no, whatever. Just the fact that a lot of the beat reporters that are actually in Foxborough debunked like 95% of the article. They actually said that Tom locked Jimmy out of TB12 when he was trying to get, his shoulder worked on. Jimmy had a fucking key card. He could get in there any fucking time he wanted. He didn't even need anybody to be in there. The fact that Belichick's now buddy with Goodell and that he met with Goodell. Goodell's secretary said that hasn't happened at all. And then some people were like, oh, well, how many sources within the Patriots? And he was like, a few. Well, like, were they players or staff members? I'm not going to divulge that information. I'm like, come on, man. Like, his sources could be the fucking Musketeers shooting off rifles after they score touchdowns. Like, it's just, people try to knock him down because it's, they're tired of winning, and I get it.
Well, I mean, I want to go ahead and let Aaron and John go before I speak my piece. So what did you guys think about this amazing journalistic piece that we got from ESPN?
4,600 words.
Thanks. Mine will be quick, much shorter than that many words. The only thing that's not fake news about the Patriots is that Jay Cutler fucking thrashed you guys. So fuck off. Jay Cutler's the GOAT. Go ahead, John. I'm out.
That was a fucking mic drop on that one.
Right. Good evening. Drive home safe.
Just so you know, I knew that was coming the moment
I did not.
I sent it to you because of his post the other day. So, and then he was taking like little shots like, certain people with agendas aren't in this thread. And I didn't see that until like 2:00 in the morning.
Was it that predictable that I was talking about you?
Yeah, it's pretty predictable.
Okay. I wanted to make sure it sounded that way.
Go ahead, John.
That was pretty fucking amazing. Shout out to Roy. He wanted to do the whole wait and see thing and see what happens. I'm gonna be blunt. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck them all. Split the bitches up.
The best thing Roy said for like that entire 48 hours is Patriots fan deserve this.
Yeah, fuck them.
That's funny.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Funny.
Completely unbiased, but damn it, they should crumble.
I can appreciate that.
Shout out to Bellamy. Be humble, motherfuckers. Humble yourself. That's what he said. Excuse me. Humble yourself. And then he's trying to trademark that shit, and I was like, man, that's a bad look after losing the national championship. But
I mean, if he's good, and like he goes to the next level, you can put that on some shirts.
Yeah, but you don't trademark that shit after you lose a national championship, bro. Let it go.
Well, you get a strike with the irons hot.
But yeah, to finish this WWE, reliable type of story. I mean, it's not true. None of it's true. The only truth is that, is there potential tension between three alpha males that are the best that's ever done it? Absolutely. And they've probably had tension several times before. LaRock quit our podcast thread earlier today just because he was pissed at me for 2 hours. People get pissed at each other. It's fine.
That is accurate.
It happens. It's not a big deal. Like, it's just to believe that there's anything different now than there's ever been before, and to believe that Bill Belichick of all people would actually leak this information to the media is laughable, and it's not true. I guarantee 100% that none of this is true, and New England will continue to be New England. Belichick will be there next year. Brady will be there next year, and Robert Kraft will be there next year. So
was this just somebody that was bored or something that decided that?
He's actually from Alaska, and he did a couple other feature pieces. Me following a bunch of beat reporters on Twitter, because that's pretty much all I do because I have no life. The fact that everybody who's in the organization day after day after day, yeah, there's some tension. Yeah, it's going to end eventually. But this outsider has these magical sources that, oh, Jimmy got locked out. Who the fuck told you that? Like,
well, I would challenge to say, I mean, what locker room doesn't have some sort of tension,
Exactly.
some level of it,
Right.
I mean, have y'all never heard snitches get stitches? Why would he give away his sources?
Right. That's the most. I mean, shit. You're talking about iron sharpening iron right there.
Really,
Yeah.
and what I was saying, because I've jumped all over the Seahawks stories this year, and I mean, the Seahawks are not performing well on the field. You've seen tension off the field or on the sidelines with them. Like, have we seen anything in New England that supports that there's any problems in New England?
I mean, apparently the fucking Miami game against Jay Cutler.
And well, they lose. There's a reason that happens because what is Brady 7-9 all time in Miami?
Yeah,
Like there's nothing. There's
brutal.
nothing different. And Tom Brady has blown up at people on the sidelines before. It's just that. And they're the number one seed. Tom Brady's the MVP. I mean, if they were like 9-7 and barely got into the playoffs on the final game of the season because somebody had to lose and Brady was like, the 17th rated passer in the NFL and they traded Garoppolo, then yeah, I would be like, man, I could totally see why there's probably some tension because if Belichick wanted to keep Garoppolo, but fucking Brady's the goddamn MVP. Like nothing's changed.
So Adam, John, whatever. If you're the GM, if you're Belichick, what do you do with Garoppolo?
I mean, I think they probably could have got more than what they did.
Did you just call me Adam?
I think you did. I was going to let
I
it
was like,
slide.
all right.
I was like, Adam Gase? I mean, what's going on? I don't know. What are we talking about?
I mean,
Adam.
I think he could have got more for Jimmy.
But when?
Given what?
So
I don't
pretty
know.
much he traded a first for a second to have 8 weeks of insurance. Because if Tom fell off the cliff in week 1 through 8, you have Jimmy. You're good. Tom's being Tom. It's week 9. What?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a really great situation to be in. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can't trade Tom. The entire fucking city of fucking Boston would strike.
well, I'm going to tell you now, you fuckers aren't going to get me boosting up the Patriots. I'm not doing that.
Okay. I mean, I was just giving you a chance.
Like I said, fuck them all.
Hey,
Blow it up.
I will say the best thing that came out of it was the amazing shit-talking discussions that it allowed us to have. And I loved Roy's mentality. Like, I don't care if this is true. I don't care if it's BS. I'm going to do what I can to aggravate a Patriot fan because fuck them.
He did it.
And he did a great job at it. So no hate here. But we're going
Let's
to move
wait
on.
and see.
Yeah, we're going to move on past that and move into the exciting NFL playoff weekend. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited. I think everyone here has a team in the playoff. Oh, that's right. Aaron doesn't. Sorry about that. And
You gotta live on that.
I
national
didn't know
championship
this. I didn't know this was the Jimmy Duncan fucking podcast here. So.
but
I will
hey,
say
look,
that guy keeps on trucking.
but it's okay. Look, even though the Bears aren't in the playoffs, at least you no, that's right. The Dolphins aren't in the playoffs either. Damn. Well,
God damn.
you could look. At least you got the Patriots. We can all pull for the Patriots. So
No, fuck, we can't either.
but we are going to move in, and we're going to do this by order of how the games are going to fall. So I think the first game is going
Falcons
to be
game.
Falcons and the Eagles. So the NFC divisional round. Now, this is an interesting matchup because obviously the Eagles are the number one seed, and on paper, everybody who doesn't follow football would probably go, "Oh, well, they should be the favorites." I think the Falcons are gonna have an easy time.
LaRock, I think you're good with spreads. Aren't the Falcons favorite on this?
Yeah, by 2.
Yep.
First time in, 15 years that the number 1 seed is actually an underdog at home.
Yeah. Now, is Foles going to start? I've
Yeah.
heard that there's some – okay, so he is definitely starting.
Yeah.
But they haven't shown a lot of confidence in him. But who's the backup right now? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
I don't even know. My
Actually,
gut says Sanchez, but I don't think that's right.
No,
Hey.
he's on the Bears.
well, Donovan McNabb's currently suspended for sexual harassment, so maybe they can sign him. I mean, I don't know.
And let's be honest, he would probably throw up in the huddle again. So.
Fun fact: the game is in Philly. it's going to be colder in Atlanta that day than it will be in Philly.
Wow, did not know that. That's interesting.
Yep.
So let's
John dropping weather bombs.
let's go around and see what everyone's picks are. So let's start with Mr. LaRock. What are your thoughts on this game?
Okay, so everybody and their mom's picking Atlanta, right? That kind of makes me pick Philly.
Dick.
I don't know. I don't know. My only caveat is, let's say all 8 teams had Blake Bortles as their quarterback. Okay.
Wow.
No. Hear me out.
Okay.
I like this.
Let's say all 8 teams had their quarterback. Blake Bortles as their quarterback. Which team would win?
Maybe the Eagles.
The Eagles, right? They have the best running attack in the league. Their secondary's defense. Their fucking pass rush.
Or the Vikings. That would be a good.
Wait, the Eagles have the best running attack in the league?
The trio between I'm just saying Jai and Blunt over. I mean, you can make a case.
Okay.
Just rushing, because Kamara does a lot of shit, catching. That if everybody's Blake Bortles, I mean, the Eagles still have one of the most talented rosters. Now, granted, I don't trust Doug Peterson. I don't. It scares me that everybody and their mom is picking Atlanta.
That's a good point. And I like what you're saying about if everybody had Blake Bortles, then, the Eagles would probably be the favorite, them or the Vikings.
Yeah.
On that defense.
So, but then again, they don't. They have fucking Nick Foles, and he looked putrid. And Atlanta has everything you need to do to make a playoff run as a wild card. You have experience. That shit matters. You have a defense that can get after a pass rush. You have Julio with the big plays, and you have an alcoholic calling the offensive plays.
We're going to give that bitch some drinks.
So who's your pick, LaRock?
I mean, I'm going to pick Eagles just because everybody's picking Falcons. But other than that, I think Atlanta should roll.
Hey, your game's next, motherfucker.
Hey, okay, you want to pick Titans?
Yes.
There, we have it.
All right, Cutler. Go for it, Cutler family.
All right. So for just real quick for you guys, as FYI, the backup quarterback for Nick Foles is named Nate Sudfeld.
Who?
Never heard of him.
Wow. Never heard of it.
Sounds like a 6'5" white guy with awesome credit.
So, John, let me ask you, because you're the expert, are both running backs for Atlanta 100%? Or is one still hurt?
I think they'll both be available. I think Freeman is not 100%, but he is available.
Okay. I'm going with Atlanta. I'll keep my pick short and sweet. I think to be completely honest with you, I've got Atlanta making it back to the Super Bowl this year. I think they're going to scratch and claw their way to to get that revenge, or at least try to get it. So I'm taking Atlanta over the Eagles. If something happens to Nick Foles, I mean, you've got Nate Sudfeld coming in to play for you. So,
if your quarterback goes down in the fucking divisional round, you're pretty much fucked anyway.
Yeah, but
unless you're Alabama.
I like Julio. I like Freeman and the other one, whatever his name is. But Coleman. Yep, I'll take Atlanta.
All right, John, what you got?
I think mine's obvious.
We're all on pins and needles here. And needles.
Yeah, I think mine's obvious. I'm rolling with Atlanta. Carson Wentz is what got Philly here, and obviously he's not here to keep them going. If Wentz was in this game, I would be more nervous than I am. But then again, I don't want to talk too much shit because obviously we can't close out sometimes. So, I'm going to call Atlanta by 10 in Philly.
Oh,
Matt's coming home.
All righty. Well, I'm very comfortable with the Falcons in this game because of all the circumstances. Typically, I would not be big on the Falcons just because I just never trust them in these situations. But I just don't see how you can't make this a comfortable win.
It seems too easy, right?
It does. It really does. But
that could be a problem, though, too.
No, it's true. It could. But I'm going with the Falcons. I think they should win this game easily. I think Julio should light them up. We'll see, though. We'll see. All right, so the next game is the very, very underrated, underappreciated, and never discussed New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans. Now, before we get into the picks, I want to ask you guys how, and again, hear me out before I finish, before you start sighing and telling me I'm an idiot. How do you think the New England ESPN article will impact this game in terms of the Titans using it as motivation? Not New England, because we know New England's not going to be affected one way or the other. How will the Titans look at it and go, hey, these guys are having problems. We can come in, there's a cut, there's a chink in the armor, and it can motivate the Titans to come in and play a little bit better than they probably would have. Do you think that's even viable?
No, because they're going to come out stretching and look up and see the 5 fucking banners.
Also, I think that's a kind of ridiculous statement too, Jeremy, because when has that ever happened? New England's the one that anytime anything is said about them, they use that as fuel and come back and just wreck shop.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's all types of different ways to be motivated. I mean, I can bring up the unfortunate 2007 Super Bowl where I really believe the Giants played better because of how closely they played New England in Week 16.
That's fact.
And so the Giants came in with this extra motivation to go, hey, I know this is the unbeatable dynasty, but we played these guys. And what was the game? They lost by 2, I think.
Yeah,
in that
that's
Week
fact.
16. And then the Giants came in and was like, hey, we have confidence we can do it. I guarantee you New England wins that Super Bowl if they didn't play New York on the final game of the season.
That is fact. Or better yet, if they lose that game.
Right. And so
if they lose, yeah.
So again, I'm not saying Tennessee can come in and win the game or anything like that, but I do believe that they can use, because this media hype around this fucking article was stupid.
It's Mike Mularkey, though.
I know. So I don't know. I just want to throw it in there for a discussion. It's a podcast. I'm trying to make the discussion happen. You don't have to destroy it, okay?
Well, I'm gonna.
The reason why the reason why I said it is because, like, I always think about the Tom Brady suspension and how he just came out and, like, was just a fucking monster,
machine,
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just look at stuff like that. Like, anytime something like that happens to New England, like, Tom Brady just comes out and shows why he's Tom Brady. So
that's true, except for when he plays Jay Cutler.
That's fact. Go ahead and say that's facts, David. Say it.
Hashtag facts.
Well, I've already told you fuckers that I'm not commenting on that shit because you bitches ain't finna get me complimenting the Patriots anymore. So.
Okay, well then just say Tennessee's gonna lose and not New England's gonna win.
Yeah, there you go. Let's hang on. So let's go around. Let's go around to Mr. Aaron Morris. What do you think's gonna happen in this game?
Patriots. I don't see Tennessee making it one more game in the playoffs. I don't think they have all the pieces in place to do it. I think that they are getting a little bit better. And obviously I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan, and I think that he might be their starting running back next season. But
Roll Tide.
Yep. And to be honest with you, just a little foresight. I haven't made this public because I just don't feel like going through all the bullshit in the group or anything like that. But I honestly pick a New England Atlanta rematch in the Super Bowl. That's always been my thought this season. So
I will fucking drive to John's house.
Hey, door's open, buddy.
Probably because you kicked it down after Monday's game.
Motherfucker.
That was good. John, let's hear it.
I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, I either want one of two things. I either want New England to be one and done, or I want a rematch. I'm fine with either one of those. Obviously,
that's kind of two big spectrums there.
Yeah. Obviously, one and done is going to be a lot more difficult than the rematch would be because Tennessee is. I don't think this article is going to have any effect on that. They're going to go in here and Tom Brady's going to. No, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so close.
So close.
No,
you were almost as close as Georgia was to winning the championship.
Son of a bitch.
Wow.
All right.
Not too soon.
All right, I'm pulling my headphones out. I gotta go. I mean, I'm hoping for a good game, honestly. Obviously, you guys want a blowout, but I want a good game because I don't really give a shit who wins that game, obviously. But I'll take Tennessee by 3.
All right.
All right. If that happens, I will also drive to John's house. Two quick tidbits. Dick LeBeau is the defensive coordinator for Tennessee. Who did he used to be a defensive coordinator for? for like 80 years.
Steelers.
Yeah, and Tom, right, kind of owns the Steelers. Are we seeing a trend here? Tom averages 32 points a game against Dick LeBeau's awesome man blitz defense. They're going to get roasted. Gronk's going to have 200 yards in the first half. The other thing is going back, I think this is probably the worst playoff opponent the Pats have ever faced in a divisional round. Tennessee is minus 22 in point differential. Like, they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. But because their quarterback can throw and catch his own ball, they beat Andy Reid because he was hungry and looking at a Waffle House menu. This game shouldn't be close. Like, if you guys think that the cliff is near for Tom Brady and he has a bad game this week, then yes, the cliff is coming in. He's 40. But they should steamroll. Like, I'm 35-13.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think Mariota, which I do like Mariota, but isn't he have more interceptions and touchdowns this year?
Accurate facts.
So I mean, I just don't see this even being close with a Bill Belichick defense. Tennessee just doesn't have it. Tom Brady's going to come out pissed off, out to prove something. And what's the weather going to be like, LaRock?
It's going to be low 30s, I think. No precipitation.
Okay. So yeah,
Mariota has 2 more interceptions than he has touchdowns. 13 touchdowns, 15 picks.
Okay. So yeah, New England's gonna win this one comfortably, and just hope we make it out with no injuries, and get ready for what's presumably going to be Pittsburgh, but we'll get to that pick shortly. So, all right. So good job, guys. Now we're going to move on to the Sunday game. Now, the first game is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I think this is a pretty interesting game myself. Shout
out to Blake Bortles.
Yeah, future MVP probably.
Yeah,
but this is a really interesting game. Obviously, Jacksonville has a great defense, but a terrible quarterback. And Pittsburgh, they obviously have great talent and they have a really good team, but they're just so hit or miss sometimes. So, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh simply because I want Pittsburgh to win, because I want to face Pittsburgh, New England, and face Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship. So let's go to John. What's up, John?
I'm different on that, man. I want fucking Jacksonville's defense to destroy fucking old shitty Ben. I'm hoping for at least 14 defensive points, not scores. That'd be crazy. You know, I don't like Ben Roethlisberger, man. I don't care for him. I'm tired of the Antonio Brown, best receiver in the league, when it's clearly fucking Julio Jones. You know, I want Jacksonville to win this game. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, maybe 21-17, but I want Jacksonville to win it.
Interesting. Aaron?
I'm a little bit different than John, but also the same. I want Jacksonville to win, but I don't think they're going to. I have a soft spot in my heart for historically shitty teams. If you probably already didn't know that, but I just kind of, just for my own interest, I want to see Harrison and New England, Pittsburgh play each other. So
that will be.
I got Pittsburgh winning this one.
Okay, LaRock.
FYI, the spread is 9. I think Jacksonville covers. I think it's going to be close. I want Pittsburgh. I cannot stress that enough. I originally wanted Kansas City, but instead I'll take Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, it's going to be. I think that's probably. I don't know if I could call it the most interesting matchup of the weekend, because the next game we talk about is the most interesting matchup of the weekend as far as
y'all realize. If Pittsburgh wins this game, and Pittsburgh and New England will play each other, wouldn't they?
Correct.
Yeah. Pittsburgh. All they're going to talk about is that fucking catch, the whole game.
I mean,
just the catch. Let's not talk about how Gronk had 100 yards in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's all they do when the fucking Falcons play.
I'd rather them talk about the catch than the fake news story. So, I mean.
Oh, I'm sure that shit will get brought up. That shit will get brought up Saturday.
So, moving on to the final game of the weekend, and it is going to be my NFC Super Bowl pick, the New Orleans Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings. So
You're slowly losing me, Jeremy.
I'm just, hey man, look, I don't know what to tell you. Facts don't care about your feelings, so just deal with it. But yeah. So what do you guys think about this matchup? I'm pretty intrigued by this matchup because it's correct me if I'm wrong. Minnesota is still in a dome, correct? Like, is a dome in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yes, but they also have the option to open and close it. FYI.
Okay.
It'd be dumb as fuck to open there.
Well, we all know that New Orleans is not really a road team, but if you're going to put them on the road, the best environment they can be on is a dome because they play in a dome. So let's go with David. What are your thoughts on this game?
It's simple. Minnesota has a historically good defense. They give up 12% of third down conversions, which is the number one in the NFL history ever. But I trust Breeze. I don't know. I don't trust Case Keenum. I think this is the game. Eventually, he turns into a pumpkin, and Cinderella goes home with no shoe. Me as a Patriot fan, going to the Super Bowl, who do I least want to face? I don't want to face Minnesota. Like, they're the least team I want to face because that defense is nasty. But I mean, it's going to come down to the running game with Ingram and Kamara. The issue is they couldn't run against Carolina. If they can't run against Carolina, they're damn sure not going to run against Minnesota. But I think Case Keenum is going to have one pick, and I think that's going to do it. But I don't know. This is probably the best game of the weekend.
Yep. John?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that as far as the best game of the weekend, as much as, I'd love the Falcons Philly game, but I think the more competitive game is going to be this New Orleans game. And God damn it, this is a lose-lose, man. I want to see New Orleans in an NFC Championship game.
So real quick, the season head-to-head between Atlanta and New Orleans, did y'all split?
Yes. Yeah, we split it 1-1. We won the first game. They won the second game.
I just want to see more 28-3 shirts.
Oh, you seen what happened when fucking Snead wore that bullshit? He hit one catch, 0 yards.
Yeah, it's accurate.
Yeah,
it's accurate.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Did you make a pick, John?
I picked New Orleans. I don't know about a score on this one. Yeah, fuck it.
Okay.
Just New Orleans. They have more points at the end of the game.
Yeah, man, that's detailed right there. ESPN
Oh, yeah.
calling you for a job. Oh wait, no, never mind. You actually report real news. Anyway, Aaron, what you think?
I would not pick a team that's in the NFC North that's not the Bears. So I'm going New Orleans on this, but not just because of that. Even though Minnesota's defense is fucking ridiculous, Drew Brees is also fucking ridiculous, and I think he lights it up.
Yeah, same here. New Orleans is, like I said, is my pick for the NFC representative to go to the Super Bowl. Drew Brees with a competent defense and a really strong running game. This is the best opportunity he's had in a long time. So I'm riding that horse. So well, that's it for the picks for this weekend. Hope everyone is looking forward to the NFL playoffs as much as we are. And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of the Sports Wars podcast. So before we wrap it up, does anybody have any shout-outs? And Jimmy is not allowed to be shouted out because he is trolling way too much in the group.
But didn't you just do that, though?
No.
Right. I've got a shout-out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimmy's name was mentioned 4 times.
Go ahead, Aaron.
My shout-out is to Jimmy. But it's not really a shout out. I'd like to let him and everyone else that is in the group or happens to listen to this podcast wherever you're at, if you are rooting and a fan of a team that's never won a ring in either college football or professional football, you don't get to talk shit and act like a troll. You have nothing to back you up. You can't say anything to anybody else that has a ring or multiple rings on any level. So go fuck yourself. Other than that, check out the newest episode of the gaming podcast. I actually wasn't on the episode that was this week. Tony Sin took my spot, so it's probably going to be a shitty episode, but check it out anyway. Other than that, thanks again for having me. Thanks to Roy for gracefully bowing down so that I could have a spot on the show this week. And shout out to you guys.
What you got, John?
Shout out to the Sports Wars group, man. We keep it fun. We don't hold back. My admin team, of course, head admin Pat Brumfield. Is that how you say his last name? Brumfield?
I think so.
I just call him Pat. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Cordarius, Roy. Man, we're looking to grow. If you're listening and not a member of that group, hit us up on Facebook, Sports Wars. Shout out to Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy, of course, getting this thing going, and fuck the Patriots, go Dogs. Hashtag rise up.
And David, I'm assuming you have no shout outs, correct?
If anybody wants to give positive vibes or thoughts, I'm taking my 2.5-year-old daughter to Disney next week.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, so a lot of princess meals. I will be repping Pat's gear as well as some Disney outfits. I might be wearing a tiara. I don't know.
And see,
We need photos.
at times like these, I get really aggravated that because LaRock and myself do not agree on pretty much anything except for New England, and the fact that we're both Patriots fans right now means I can't say like, "Are you going to wear your Tom Brady skirt for the princess meals?" Things like that, and it really aggravates me. But whatever.
I would wear Uggs if it was little.
I think LaRock has a TB12 tramp stamp.
You don't even know.
No comment. No comment. But I just want to thank everybody for that listens to the podcast, especially from the Sports Wars community. We get really good engagement rate from that group, and it's really appreciated. We've had a lot of great discussions this past week, and just continue to provide that group and the community with all of your discussions and your knowledge and your debating. Don't bring your feelings into it. It's all meant for good fun, but don't bring your feelings into it.
Don't bring your no-win teams into it either.
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, yeah, and another thing, if you like what you hear, man, leave a rating. I'm sure wherever this is available to you at, you can rate us, let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, and we are currently on SoundCloud, but that will be switching over to Podbean probably towards the end of this week. But we're also going to be on YouTube, and you can find us there, or Podbean and SoundCloud for any past episodes, things like that. So other than that, I want to give just a big shout out to the Geeks and Gamers community, to GeekPulse Radio, to our entire team. I really appreciate all the support we continue to receive from the community. Other than that, you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you later.
Hi, Bryson.
Go
Bye,
Dogs.
Bryson. Roll Tide.